DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals. They're loading up for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, a phenomenal job by Steve Keim, who I don't normally really care for his decision-making, but, he did an amazing job fleecing Bill O'Brien here. When you look at what other people give up for wide receivers, and then he gave up oft-injured David Johnson and a fourth-round pick or something like that. Maybe it was a fifth-round pick. It was embarrassing. And it's clear that Houston needs a general manager because, okay, it was bad enough the way that they botched the Jadeveon Clowney thing last year and only got a third-round pick for him. Now you give up one of the basically top 3 wide receivers in the game for a running back that can't stay healthy when you already have a couple pretty good running backs, Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, and you get nothing else basically in return. I mean, a second-round pick, maybe that gives you a talented wide receiver, but you legit gave up a proven guy who has, for his 7-year career, he's played in all but 2 games. He's got 5 1,000-yard seasons. He's the second fastest to the amount of yards that he has here. He's just the guy, when you're trying to make life easier for Deshaun Watson, you want to keep him there. It was bad enough for him when you had him there. He's always running for his life because his line's so bad. And now you rob him of the one guy that can win one-on-one matchups. It's just, I think that Bill O'Brien gets fired at the end of this year.
And he's not a malcontent. I mean, I'm talking about Hopkins. I don't get, how did the people in the room, I realize it's the GM.
Yeah, why?
How did the people in the room say, yeah, this is a good deal?
Well, I think because there is no GM and you have a head coach, there's talk that Hopkins wanted his deal reworked and that there was some friction between them last year. And, I think that O'Brien was just like, I'm just getting rid of this headache right here.
Wow.
Instead of having someone with, because there's checks and balances to sit him down and be like, no, okay. What is this? We've got to find a compromise because we need this guy. I mean, it's not like he was an Antonio Brown or anything like that. From everything I've heard, was a great guy. Did not cause problems in the locker room. But I think that, unless they pull off something amazing between now and the draft and everything winds up being okay, I don't know how you can keep O'Brien.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. All right, so anything else yesterday kind of surprised you? What about Diggs going to Buffalo? And that's a great haul they got back, man. That
can't be a surprise.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not a surprise that he's gone. I mean, he made it clear yesterday. I mean, all off season he took down any Viking stuff off his social media. Yesterday he tweeted or Instagram posted that it was time for a fresh start or whatever. I guess when he saw Cousins got an extension, he was like, "Nah, I can't do this anymore."
What is the beef with Cousins? What was his problem with him?
I have no idea. I guess, there was times when those wide receivers were very frustrated with him. Even though, down the stretch of the season, first 4 games, he was missing them. He was locked in. He checked down too much. But then, from that point on, he really became more aggressive and made some great plays. I mean, he delivered them to a win there in the playoffs in the Superdome. I mean, so it's still confusing because they had paid Diggs, and it wasn't like he was an ignored guy, but he just wasn't happy there for whatever reason. So it wasn't surprising that he was gone. I was just surprised that Buffalo, I mean, look, they are really committed. Last year they tried Antonio Brown, couldn't quite get it done, and it was probably a good thing for them. Now,
just a theory, Mike, ego. So Adam Thielen's really the number one there, and he may feel like he's the number one. It's just a theory that some guy's ego gets in the way of things like that. And, if you think about
ego's always a factor.
Thielen was putting up better numbers than Diggs by and large when they're both healthy.
Even though having him opposite you makes life, when you can't focus on one guy, two talented wide receivers do work well together. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the connection between Thielen and Cousins did seem like it was stronger. So I guess Diggs just couldn't handle that. I don't know. I mean, now he's going to a young, big-armed quarterback, but he's not the most accurate guy, and he likes to run around. So I don't know. Be careful what you wish for.
Joined by Mike Jones, NFL columnist for USA Today. What do you make of the Ravens' moves?
Well, I mean, it's clear that they're trying to make sure that they continue to bolster this defense. They want to make sure they get as great a supporting cast as they can for Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they're done. We'll see here, but they know that they've got a window here, and I think they looked at what the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes and how that paid off. So they want to make sure that they do everything possible to win in this window of opportunity.
All right, so the Niners make a deal. They decide that they want to keep Armstead, give him a big deal, and they trade Buckner, and they acquire the 13th pick from the Colts. And now they have the 13 and the 31. Now, they don't have a second or third or a fourth-round pick. All right, so maybe they move out of the 31 and get a second and a late fourth or another fifth, who knows. But at 13, it makes it interesting because they need secondary help. I think that was obvious from the playoffs last year in the Super Bowl. But they also may be looking at a speedster receiver since Sanders is probably going to be leaving. So what do you think of that deal, and where do you think they go at 13?
I thought that was a win for them. You can't keep everybody, unfortunately. But, I mean, you're getting another first-round pick. If you have 2 first-round picks, that kind of makes, it kind of helps you soften the blow of not having those other, mid-round picks there. They've done a good job drafting. Now they have options. They could either package and move up. They could move down. They could just sit tight and meet multiple needs, whether it's a speedster, whether it's, more defensive help. But they have options, and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have been really smart the way they've built this roster. And so, for the Colts, it's a win for them because they get a talented defensive guy to further strengthen their defense, and then Buckner gets paid. So I think everybody should feel good about the way that played out.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm just going to go down the list of the free agents here, and we can kind of stop whenever you want. So Prescott gets franchised, no surprise there. Chris Jones and Kansas City franchise. Breeze will re-sign, and then you get to Brady. And I know you've been talking about Brady forever. You've been asked a million questions about him. It seems like, Tennessee's definitely off the list. Seems like the Raiders are off the list because they just signed Mariota. Do you see him going to the Chargers? The Colts are off the list because they're talking to Rivers. Or do you see Tampa? Or do you see New England?
I still feel like New England is going to be it. I mean, over the weekend I was told that the New England was still making a hard push. Now, we just don't know what Brady wants. Does he want to, go for another Super Bowl ring, or is he at the point where he just wants out of there and he wants kind of like that Michael Jordan challenge with the Wizards to prove that, hey, I can go take a young team and elevate them. We know Michael Jordan fell short. But, it was still a challenge that he wanted to take on. So does Brady want to do that with a team like the Chargers? We just started that production company out there in California, or is it Tampa, a nicer place to live? I don't know. But when you look at New England, they lost a number of defensive guys through the first day of free agency. So it's not like that other side of the ball that supports them. It's not like they've gotten stronger. You'd like to see them really invest and make sure to get him a number of offensive weapons because that cupboard's kind of thin there. So I don't know. I'm still I feel like the best case is and what is most likely is New England, but at the same time, as you're seeing guys exit on the defensive side of the ball, which makes life harder for him, maybe he just goes ahead and says, yeah, let me go try out, L.A.
Were you surprised that the Bengals franchised A.J. Green?
Yes and no. It's clear that he didn't want to be there, so I kind of was surprised by that. But maybe they're hoping that they can facilitate a trade, or they're like, look, we're going to have a young quarterback here. We need a proven guy for him. We're going to, continue to, try to build this thing. And sorry, but you're part of our plans. We'll see how it plays out. Definitely having him would make life way easier for Joe Burrow.
Right. And they got Boyd too. Boyd's legit.
Right. Yeah. So it makes sense. But at the same time, you kind of, rid yourself of headaches. But again, talented wide receivers are hard to come by.
Mike Jones joins us, NFL columnist for USA Today. Bringing it back to the Redskins, they apparently made a play for Amari Cooper. How serious were they? And did Cooper take less money to stay in Dallas?
Well, I mean, that's what it sounds like there. And I guess, for him, when you're looking at, okay, I can make a lot of money either place, but what place is closer to winning? Where do I have a sure thing that I know who's going to give me the ball, who's going to, set me up to make these touchdown catches? I would have probably done the same thing there. There's just a lot of questions. The Redskins are still a couple of years away, from being able to contend, whereas Dallas, they've got pieces there, and they've got a talented head coaching staff. Good for him getting paid. That Dak's got to be kind of frustrated, maybe a little miffed. Okay, now you give him 5 years, $100 million. Where's mine? But I still think that Jerry's going to wind up taking care of him between now and the July 15th deadline. I think that they get it done. And now the Redskins, where do they look? I don't know. They're probably better off drafting somebody early. So that way you have another young, talented wide receiver to go with McLaurin to help out Haskins.
Well, I look at it as a couple of whiffs. They whiffed on Austin Hooper. Everybody knows they need a tight end. They whiff on Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to need a lot of help at receiver.
Yeah, but I'm saying, look at their situation. If you are a talented veteran, would you go there?
Nope.
I mean, what really appeals to you?
Nope.
You got questions about Haskins. I think that he's going to continue to grow, and I think that he's going to be okay. But there's questions about him. You don't know who your left tackle is. You don't have another tight end, the tight end situation, your running back situation. You've got an aging Adrian Peterson and Darius Geis who can't stay healthy. You've got, defensive pieces that are good, but you still need a lot in your secondary. So if you want to win right now, you go somewhere else that's closer.